I'm about to tell you a wild story about how I was called to a remote northern forest in the mountains to help a soul in need. Even though I didn't know at the time, that was the reason I was called here. Initially, what guided me here to this place were the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights. They promised to be very bright and active over the next few days, due to some recent solar storms. So I decided this would be the perfect place to get the most glorious view of them, far away from the city lights. I had camped in these woods before, so I had some experience with this place. I had already set up my camp in the valley, and chopped my wood for the evening fire. I spent the rest of the afternoon on a hike, getting reacquainted with the many trails that wind their way through these woods, breathing in the fresh mountain air, hearing the wind in the pines, and getting grounded back in nature. I had already scouted a great spot on a hill, close to where I'd camped, that had a great view of the sky above, and the valley below. If the aurora showed up strong tonight, this would offer a spectacular panorama of the entire sky. In the wilderness, you're deeply immersed in the darkness of the night. So every light in the sky shines even more for the contrast. The aurora were putting on quite a show that night, more brilliant and more active than I had ever witnessed before. Sitting next to my cozy fire, and enjoying the streaming ribbons of color above, I was very thankful that I had taken the chance to come out here, and enjoy this rare sight. The unpredictable way they moved made them seem alive, like dragons of light, whipping and weaving across the sky in a primal dance. The entire display surrounded me, and I was reminded of the viewing spot I had scouted earlier. I didn't want to miss a chance to get the most out of this experience, so with my trusty flashlight in hand, I made my way to the top of the hill. It's interesting, even though I know I'm seeing energy from the sun light up the ionosphere at the poles, where the electromagnetic field of the Earth is most active, it does not take away from the magic of the moment. I always loved the old tales from the north, that speak of the aurora as the spirit of the ancestors, watching over us from above, as they dance across the sky in celebration of the cycles of life. It may seem strictly poetic to some, but to me, I always felt comfort in the thought, where I felt a deeper connection to the mysteries of life, and the continuity of our soul's journey throughout the cosmos. Although I could watch the sky all night, the air was getting cool, and my cozy fire and comfy bed were calling me. Before heading back to camp, I sent up a silent thank you to the ancestors for calling me here for this extraordinary experience. What I didn't yet realize was that I was going to experience much more than I had expected. Suddenly I was faced with a wild bear in the woods, and I froze as my mind and body fought for dominance. Should I play dead? Bad idea, bears eat carrion. Should I run? Bears run fast, and I risk getting lost. Make noise and scare him away. Yes, that's it. On second thought, the bear wins that contest. He's way scarier. I'm just going to run. I was relieved to hear the bear running away after I had crashed through the bushes and tumbled down into the ravine. I took a moment to catch my breath before getting up to find the flashlight I had dropped when I rolled down the slope. This place, I was sure I had never been here before, and yet, I couldn't place it. It was just a feeling. The energy. As I walked forward to get my flashlight, I got a better view of the scene, and I was struck with a sudden familiarity, like I had witnessed this before. Perhaps I had dreamt of this place. There was no memory that I could recall from my mind, just that feeling. My eyes were glued to the eerie scene of a great dead tree, surrounded by some very large boulders. It gave the look and feel of a very ancient place. Standing stones, arranged here in a time since forgotten. It was so strange, how this experience felt new and yet, I could not shake that strong sense of déjà vu. A rolling mist hung low in the basin, obscuring the ground beneath my feet, and the foggy air gave the aurora a ghostly appearance, adding to the mysterious atmosphere of this surreal experience. I wondered aloud if I had been guided here, and was surprised to hear a resounding yes in my mind. I had been called here, but what was the reason? I knew that standing stones were often found in places where the planetary ley lines of the Earth converge. Perhaps this place was important for the Earth's energetic grid. If so, that tree hadn't fared so well, although its massive size suggested that it must have thrived at some point in time, before it had died. I wasn't sure how to proceed, so I let my intuition guide me. I placed a hand on one of the ancient stones, to try and get a sense about what my mission was in this place. I focused on that question and waited for a response. It wasn't long before I felt a subtle energy, gently tugging at my attention. However, it wasn't coming from the stones. I felt it coming from the tree. I thought my eyes were playing tricks at first. The bark seemed to move. I wasn't fearful, but I remained cautious as I approached to get a closer look. Yes, I see it. This tree is not dead. It is sick, but still clinging to life. I could feel it, calling to me, urgently trying to communicate. Not with words, rather through my senses. It felt my willingness to help, and revealed itself to me. Could it be a tree spirit? A dryad? I got closer, to let it know I was listening. My subtler senses were picking up on the sensations it was sending me. It felt like being pinned down, not able to flow and grow. I had a metallic taste lingering on my tongue, and I could feel a sharp pain at the base of my spine, at the root. Oh, at the root. And then I saw it. It looked like a hatchet. Yes, it looked very old. The iron head had rusted and the handle was weathered. The head was buried very deeply into the root. I had to be careful to remove it without breaking the handle. I knew this had to be what I was called here to do. I started to work the hatchet loose, gently at first, until I could start to feel it coming loose. Once it started to move more freely, I got my back and legs into it. I pulled back hard and it finally came free. Immediately, I felt the energy shift and heard a great shout of joy, seeming to come from nature herself. I sat in awe as I witnessed a wonderful transformation. At the very break of dawn, before my very eyes, I watched it all happen. I could only guess as to why the hatchet had affected the tree like it did. I knew that some nature spirits considered iron to be harmful, even poisonous to them. Logically, it made sense. I did not know how the hatchet had gotten lodged into the root of the tree, or who had done it, or why. But that part wasn't important. What truly mattered was that I had answered the call, identified the problem, and applied a solution. And well, the end result speaks for itself. In the morning light, I was able to find my way back to camp, and my cozy fire. I decided to stay another night. Now that my mission was complete, I could get some rest and enjoy another night of dancing lights. Thus ends my wild story about how I answered the call of the wild. I know, it's hard to believe. I could hardly believe it myself, even after the experience. Now that I know where to find it, I will come back to visit that place, to check on the dryad, and also to remind myself that it really happened. Although, next time, I will have to make sure and bring some bear spray. Yeah.